Hello, Haley here, and today we're going to go over some simple strategies for focusing on home-based behaviors. All right, now, in case anyone needs a refresher, let's go over what home base is first before we talk about anything else. All right, now we talk about home base under the core nutrition plan in your program, where we focus on adding more water, more vegetables, more sleep, more movement, and we even put that emphasis on adding more protein as well. All right, so these behaviors are the most impactful things in our health. So I want to empower you to always be looking for ways you can begin focusing on these areas. And again, that's more water, more veggies, protein, sleep, and movement. Okay. Now, of course, not every day is going to be perfect, and that is not the point. All right. We're looking for progress here. Even if it is 1% better than what you did yesterday, that is still progress that we're always going to celebrate. All right. Now, if you're listening to this recording, or maybe you're here live with me, and maybe you realize there's some areas in home base that you haven't just had on your radar lately. You know, the holidays have come and gone, and it was such a busy season. Maybe you did some travel. Maybe you had family visiting you, and it was just a go, go, go busy season of life. And you wake up, it is January 7th, and it's like, oh my goodness, I'm not even getting my water in. I'm not even, prioritizing a breakfast, let alone protein. Like maybe you just realize, okay, there's some improvement I need to make. That's okay. All right. But let's do something with that realization that you just made and be proactive with it. Okay. So I want you to write down the areas that you realize you need to be more intentional in when it comes to home-based behaviors. Okay. And then, hopefully through this call today, I can help you make some strategies for how to make these habits more strong and like them like the back of your hand, right? Or maybe, whatever I go over today is just going to spark some ideas for you and you come up with your own strategies. I am always telling clients this that, I love asking questions whenever I am in a conversation, whenever I'm on a call with a client, asking questions about what they feel they can do to help navigate a certain issue or a hurdle or whatever it may be, because I strongly believe that we all hold the answers already within us. We just have to be empowered to look for those answers, right? Now, of course, as a nutritionist and as your coach, like I am here to help you come up with those answers. But I just feel like we've all been so conditioned to look towards something else to give us the answer that we need, right? We look towards a different professional, which is okay, right? They have that profession, they have that title for a reason, they know a lot. But I want you to start trusting yourself too, and trust in your intuition and trust in your ability to come to these decisions and conclusions that are going to best serve you because you know your body best, right? All right, so that was a little bit of a tangent, but I hope that you are making some notes, that you are writing down, being proactive about this, and so we can start to build upon it and move the needle forward. Right. So I say this all the time, though, with clients, but you can truly make the decision whenever you realize you aren't prioritizing home base to get back to these behaviors as soon as possible. I literally say, like, snap your fingers and say, all right, let's do it. Right. It doesn't need to wait until next Monday or after your work trip or whenever the family leaves or whatever. You can literally do this right now. Home base is never too far from you, and you didn't derail all your progress either if you did have an off day or an off meal or an off weekend, whatever it looks like, right? Even if that is just as simple as getting back to your water, right? We don't have to do all the things, but just realizing I need to focus and I'm going to start here, right? I'm going to start in this one area first and then build upon that. All right, so let's dive into some ideas. I want to go over all of our home-based behaviors with the addition of protein as well, because again, that is just so important to keep our eyes and our minds focused on so we can nourish our bodies properly with those balanced meals, right? And just get the nutrients that our bodies need as well. So, for starters, let's start with water. All right, so a couple water tips that I have for you if you realize I am not getting enough water in my day. First, we always need to know how much water do you actually need. All right, so probably, highly likely, you made that goal with your nutrition provider. Now you can always build upon that goal. I'm always telling clients, like, let's get curious with your body and see what is that sweet spot that your body loves. The amount of body, the amount of water my body needs is going to look completely different than how much water your body needs, right? But say we can always start with this simple example of at least half your body um, in ounces of water, right? Half your body weight in ounces of water. So for an example, say you are 150 pounds. And so we divide that in half, 75 ounces of water is going to be at least the goal we want to start working towards. And then we can absolutely build upon that goal, right? But we need to know how much water we actually wanting to drink in a day. All right, so we have that number in our minds, hopefully. Okay, now next, my little tip here, I'm going to bring out mine as an example. If you don't have one, get yourself a refillable water bottle. And I'm going to add this little tip in here as well. If you're drinking out of plastic water bottles, like just the little ones that, you drink, throw them out, get another one, drink, throw them out. Okay, I'm really happy that you are getting your water in each day, but we also want to be mindful of plastics. That is just one thing, especially when we're dealing with estrogen dominance, we really want to be careful about and how much we are allowing into not only our life, but into our body. See, water, when it sits in plastic water bottles, that plastic leaches into the water and we end up consuming that. Same with plastic storage containers, plastic bags. There's just so many plastics around us. And, studies have found that like we are consuming a credit card worth of plastic. It used to be in a year, and now I do believe the recent research was like in a week for some people. So, of course, that can vary just depending on your environment and your lifestyle. But I will always, always, always encourage to try and veer away from those plastic water bottles and get a good quality. We don't have to spend a lot of money, right, on our water bottles, but just something that is going to be good for your health as well. Okay, so get your refillable water bottle. Know the size of it. Okay, so this holds 22 ounces of water. So my personal water intake goal a day is about 120 ounces of water because I know that's what my body needs. That's what my body loves. And that's truly what makes me thrive. That's what makes me feel my best. If I am not drinking that much water, then I am going to feel really sluggish. I am likely going to get a headache. That always happens for me if I am not hydrating properly. Maybe my bowels will be a little bit slower, right? Like maybe I'll get some blemishes or some breakouts. Like water is so important, not only for all of these areas, but also for maintaining a healthy weight as well. So that is why we focus on water. So again, my goal is 120 ounces of water. Okay, we got our refillable water bottle. We know how much our bottle holds. Now let's do the simple math. Okay, and I'm just going to use my example here of 120 ounces of water. So since this holds 22 ounces, I'm going to divide that 22. So I know I'm just going to put 6 hair ties or rubber bands around this water bottle. And so I'm going to explain this in just a bit, but I need about 5.5 of these water bottles to get to my goal of 120 ounces of water. Okay, so visually, I love visual things. I don't like relying on another app to remind me to drink water, right? I'm trying to spend as less time on my phone as possible. So again, I'm going to get 5, 6 hair ties around my water bottle or rubber bands, whatever you have around you. And that is going to signify how many bottles I need to drink. Okay, so as soon as I drink one of those come off. And now I know, okay, I only need 5. Another one comes off. Now I only need 4 more bottles, right? So that is a very, very easy visual for you. And always keep your water bottle with you too. Keep it full. Keep it with you no matter where you're going. If you are working, if you are walking, if you are running errands, wherever you are, keep it with you. And that's going to be really helpful too. Just, hey, you see it there. You see how many rubber bands or hair ties you have around your water bottle. And you see it is also maybe 11 a.m., right? And you realize, holy crap, I haven't drank that much water today. It is time to get going. All right, now another little tip I can give you is the night before you go to bed, you can either fill up your refillable water bottle or just get a glass of water, whatever it looks like. Fill that glass or water bottle up though. The night before you go to bed, put it on your nightstand or put it on your countertop and leave it there for when you wake up the next morning. All right, so next morning you wake up, you go to the bathroom, you get on the scale, right? And then the first thing you see, hopefully, is this water, and it is room temperature, so that is going to be wonderful for your digestion. You just spent all night fasting, right? So you are also a little dehydrated, so you need water first thing in the morning. And also, I always emphasize room temperature because cold water can be a little too harsh on a fasted, dehydrated body and digestive tract, okay? And also that room temperature water is really going to help your food from breakfast move through your digestive tract easier. All right, there are a couple other benefits of room temp water as well, but I always want to emphasize room temp, especially first thing in the morning. All right, so you reach for that. At least drink 16 ounces of water first thing in the morning before you reach for your coffee. And that is going to really help you just get a kickstart on your water intake. Okay, that's also going to help things move, which is going to help with elimination as well. All right, so that is my tip there for water intake. Hopefully that helps you. Now, with any of these tips, if you are listening to this recording and you have any takeaways, you have any questions, you have anything at all, I want you to go into our community thread that we have, and under the post of this call, where the recording of this call is going to be, share any takeaways, post your questions. I am here for you. I want to help you. I want to support you. I want to troubleshoot with you and help you build up strong habits in the home-based behaviors. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Next tip here, we're going to talk about vegetables really quick. So I will always say veggies do not have to be complicated. Okay, let's talk about a couple different scenarios. First, if you are going out to eat, whether that's just what your family does a lot, or maybe you're on a road trip, or you have a work trip, and yes, you can't pick the restaurant, but you can at least order your own food, right? Like there are always different scenarios, but I always want to empower you with this. You can control the controllable and do your best to look for opportunities to add vegetables to whatever meal you're having. Okay? Ask the server. If you don't see something that you would love to have, ask, hey, can you do this for me? Instead, like I see some options of vegetables, but I don't see it as an option and a side. Can you make this a side for me? Right? Like ask those questions. It is okay. You're not a bother. You are prioritizing you, your health, your wellness, and that's beautiful. So be proud of yourself for asking those questions. But always remember that you can always look for those opportunities no matter where you are, if it's fast food or at a really wonderful restaurant, right? Or anything in between, you can absolutely prioritize those vegetables. And it might not always look perfect, but like I said in the beginning of this call, that's not what we're looking for. We're just looking for progress. And not every day is going to be again, I'm just going to use this word, picture perfect home-based behaviors, right? Because life happens and we're human. But as long as we can just give ourselves that grace and say, hey, I really wasn't able to get that many vegetables at lunch today. I'm going to double up on them at dinner. And I'm really just going to make it a priority at my next meal, right? That is a wonderful mindset to be in. And that's all we're asking for. So, that's my tip with veggies is always look for those opportunities. Now, when we are home, fresh, or yes, fresh produce is always wonderful. So yes, get the veggies and the fruits as well, right? Because those are great in fiber too. But we're talking about veggies here, non-starchy veggies. And I want you to shop that makes sense. Shop for enough veggies that make sense for you and your family. We never want like your food to go bad and you have to throw it out, right? That's like the worst feeling, at least for me. So, what you can do is, yes, get the amount of fresh veggies that you need, but frozen veggies are just as good and they are a wonderful staple to keep in the freezer, especially if you're in a pinch, you need vegetables quick. And guess what? They're mostly always chopped up and ready for you, right? They're ready to be steamed or roasted or air fried, whatever you're going to do with them. So that's my next tip is keep frozen vegetables on hand always to have in a pinch or to pair with your fresh vegetables. If you want to chop up a lot of fresh veggies, add a bag or two of frozen vegetables together on a roasting pan. Roast those up with your favorite seasoning, maybe a, little drizzle of avocado oil. Roast them in the oven until they are, the perfect little bit crispy, golden brown, right? However you like them cooked. And there you go. You got a lot of vegetables, and that's just such an easy thing to do for dinner as well. So you have vegetables for dinner, and now odds are you're going to have a lot of leftovers too from that big roasting sheet. So all of that goes into a storage container, a glass storage container, and you can use those as easy vegetable add-ons for the next few lunches, right? I'm always looking for like just easy ways to make a lunch during my work week because I don't have a lot of time to mess around in the kitchen. I need to make my lunch, have it, and then get right back to work, right? And I know that's the case for a lot of you as well. So help yourself out by bulk, roasting, bulk making a big dinner so that can turn into simple leftovers. Okay, let me see here. Yes, my next and final tip when it comes to vegetable intake is when you go grocery shopping and you are coming home with some fresh produce, fresh vegetables like carrots, peppers, celery, whatever you want to have and enjoy as a snack, I want you to take the extra 10, maybe 15 minutes, maybe not even that long at all, to get them out of the bag, wash them, chop them, put them in a glass storage container and store them. Okay, because I know myself, if I don't do this and I don't have those vegetables already prepped and ready to go for, again, that easy grab and go snack, guess what I'm going for? The chips and the salsa, because that is going to take much less time than for me to have to pull them out of the bag, clean them, chop them, and then have my snack, right? That's just the reality. I know myself very well. You know yourself very well as well. So do what you need to do to set yourself up for success. And that could be such an easy thing to do. Now, of course, I'm sure maybe you're thinking like, well, why don't I just get the pre-chopped veggies in the produce aisle? Go for it. Whatever is simple for you. I really encourage you to clean those vegetables as well. They're already chopped for you, so just take that extra measure to clean them and then store them properly, and then you're good to go. Okay, so that wraps up my couple tips for vegetables. Let's move on to protein here. Let me see. I made some Reader's Digest tips so I don't forget anything. All right. this is going to go back to my example I just gave you for vegetables, but one thing I do that really works well for me and my family, first, I'm going to say this, I am not a big meal prep person, okay? The meal preps that we see on Instagram and on Pinterest, if you're still on Pinterest, that's not me. I most of the time am not going to know what I want for dinner personally until like 4 p.m. A couple hours before dinner when I have to really make that decision. Um, of course, sometimes I will plan a meal whenever I really want like chili out in the crock pot or something else in the crock pot, right? Where we really have to think in advance. But that really doesn't happen often because I'm just kind of a last minute person like that when it comes to dinner. But again, I know I need to set myself up for success for breakfast and lunch, especially because just the morning and the daytime, they're busy, especially during the work week. And I know I'm always going to have food in the fridge or freezer for a dinner, right? But I need something prepared for me for breakfast and for lunch. So, my first tip here, like I said, is kind of going to mirror what I told you to do for vegetables, but you can um, get different types of proteins out. So say you've got some chicken, some salmon, and some steak. Okay, these are just examples here, but you can fire up the grill and you can grill it all together. That's what we do in our household all the time. We use the grill all year round. We live in Western PA, so yes, it is very cold outside. Thankfully, we do have a roof above us outside on the porch so we can comfortably-ish grill in the winter time, but it is just such an easy way to bulk cook those proteins all together. And typically I am doing this, or my husband is helping me do this when we're already preparing a dinner. Okay, I am not going to be cooking all day on a Sunday. I'm going to be doing a lot of this work when I'm already making a Sunday evening dinner. Okay, so whatever we're having for dinner, say it's salmon on a Sunday night with some vegetables, well, I'm going to bulk roast a ton of other veggies so I can have that for leftover. And then I'm also going to grill some chicken and some steak up as well so we can have some easy proteins that are already cooked. We can pre-chop them, right, or shred them, whatever you want to do for lunches. The following few days. Typically, that lasts us all week between my husband and I, because he also works from home. So that is just a really simple thing that we do. Of course, you don't have to grill. You can put them on another roasting sheet and roast some proteins together or bake them in the oven. You can air fry some things together. There's so many different things that you can do bulk wise, but that is again just something that really works for me. So hopefully that tip can, spark some ideas for you as well. Another idea that I want to give is for breakfast. So sometimes I at least like to keep two, maybe three different types of breakfast that I can rotate between. Okay. That just, I know my gut loves, our gut loves diversity, but I know my gut really enjoys that. If I stick to the same breakfast day after day, week after week, month after month, sometimes it just doesn't start to sit well with me. Okay, so I know I need to switch some things up every now and then. So that's where I'm going to go back and forth with some different breakfast options. So, one option I love is to have a couple eggs. I'll have like maybe 2 or 3 eggs in the morning, and I'm going to pair another protein source with those eggs. So, this is what I do. If you've ever gone through our recipes, if you haven't, I highly suggest you do. But if you have, you maybe have seen the turkey sausages that we offer in the recipe guide. They are so good. There's definitely quite a few turkey sausage patties that you can make. I think we also offer a chicken sausage recipe as well. Now, again, just being realistic, like I don't always make a lot of time to make a homemade sausage patty, but what I will do is buy organic ground turkey. And I'm just going to, if it's a big box of that, I'm going to do 1 pound of turkey save the other pound for, another meal. And I'm going to cook all that up, okay? And then I'm going to season it however I want to, typically salt, pepper, some garlic, maybe a little bit of sage in there, some red hot chili flakes, just to, give it some good sausage flavor, right? And then I'm going to, once that's all cooked, it's going to go in a glass storage container, and that's going to be easy protein add-ons for future breakfast during that work week. Okay. So eggs, they take no time to cook up. I'm typically going to add in maybe some zucchini, maybe some spinach along with those eggs, cook all that up, throw in the turkey sausage as well that I cooked up already, and boom, there's my breakfast. Very simple. Sometimes I'll pair that with some avocado if I realize I need more healthy fat, or maybe a little bowl of some fruit, whatever that could look like. But there's a really easy breakfast idea there for you to help ensure you're getting the optimal protein that we all need in our day. Again, I'll reiterate this, that the minimum amount of protein that we want to have at breakfast, lunch, and dinner is 30 grams of protein at each meal. Okay, so that idea can definitely get you to 30 grams or maybe a little bit more if you want to boost that. If you know your body needs more protein at breakfast, go for it. Another idea that I'll give you is overnight oatmeal. I know I've talked about this before, but I love overnight oatmeal, and I prepare it ahead of time as well, just so it's something easy for me to grab, reheat if I want to reheat it, but it's pretty much already ready for me, right? It might just take another couple minutes, and boom, there is breakfast. And I always include in my overnight oatmeal protein. A really high quality protein powder is really important. If you haven't heard the news, Vitality Health Matrix, we came out with our supplement line, and we do offer a chocolate grass-fed whey protein. If you want to try that out, it is delicious. But that's an option there. So I always add protein powder to my overnight oatmeal to ensure I am boosting the protein content in there. And then I'll add maybe some Greek yogurt on top, just different sources, again, of protein to ensure I'm getting at least 30 grams at my breakfast. All right, so another thing that I just want to point you to is our snack list that we have in the resources as well. If you are wondering where the heck that even is, I can walk you through that. Just let me know. Again, comment in the community chat thread there that we have for you. If you can't find something, let us know and we will help you out. But we do have a high protein and fiber snack list that you can reference to if you need just some ideas of some easy grab and go options or just some ways to help boost your protein intake throughout the day. All right. Okay, so we are getting through these tips. Next tip here is going to talk about sleep. All right, so my first tip here, if you realize, okay, I've just been a little lazy with my bedtime. Maybe you've been into the habit since the holidays, maybe, of watching a lot of TV, watching more than a couple episodes at a night right before bed. Maybe you have a TV in your room and you're watching that a lot, or maybe you're on your phone, you're scrolling social media, or you're playing some games on your phone, like whatever that looks like. I want to first always say we are all human, and I even watch TV leading up to bedtime sometimes, okay? I am far from perfect as well. We all are. But I always want to empower you to at least keep a 30-minute boundary before bed of no electronics, okay? Especially if you realize, like, yes, I'm struggling with my sleep. Maybe I can't get to sleep, I can't stay asleep, or I'm waking up just really exhausted, even though I did get 7 to 9 hours of sleep, right? We want to start with a pretty good bedtime routine. And again, I'm going to reiterate this. Keep a 30-minute boundary of no electronics before bed. And what that's going to do is help your body, your mind, your eyes rest, relax, and unwind, which is so important. And I'm going to tell you why. We live in a world where, again, we have all these electronics all around us. We have artificial light, right? So when the sun sets and it gets dark outside, well, it is still daylight in our environment, in our home, right? We have all these lights to keep things nice and bright. And what that does when it turns into evening time is that actually inhibits our melatonin production because it is tricking our body into thinking, well, it's still daylight, right? We're not going to create any of this melatonin to help this body get some sleep when it's still daylight. So that is a huge thing right there. That's really going to help you when you start to implement at least a 30-minute boundary before bed of dimming your lights, even dim your lights like after dinner, right? Just get into that habit. Maybe change out your LED lights that you have with incandescent lighting or full spectrum lights even. There's a couple great websites I could point you to if you want to learn more about this, to where you can change out your light bulbs for more circadian rhythm friendly lights, okay? So again, it is that artificial light and that blue light that comes from the lights we have in our home, from our computer, from our TV, from our phone, from our tablet, whatever it is. That blue light is inhibiting that melatonin production. So we want to give that break in the evening time before bed to allow that melatonin to begin to optimally produce within our bodies. Okay, so keep that 30-minute boundary. And then also just another tip to add to this, these are both free, easy tips, okay? Next one is keep a consistent bedtime and wake time. That is going to be such a helpful step towards the right direction to help support your circadian rhythm. Guys, our circadian rhythm governs everything. Okay, and it governs our health, our wellness, maintaining a healthy weight, our hormones, our sex hormones to cortisol to everything, right? Thyroid, it governs all of our hormones, our metabolism, our blood sugar. Sleep is so important, and ensuring that our circadian rhythm is in a good flow is so, so important. So that consistent bedtime and wake time is really going to help with that too. I know it sounds so simple, but it's a simple tip that you can start to focus on as well. So we always want to prioritize that 7 to 9 hour window of sleep. Okay, whatever that looks like. If you know I need 8 hours of sleep at night, what is that going to look like? Is that going to look like a 10 o'clock bedtime? Like your butt needs to be in bed by that time. So you can wake up by maybe 6 or 6:30, give yourself a little bit of leeway, some wiggle room there. But then that means by 9:30, TV goes off, phone goes down, lights are very dim, right? You're starting to set the mood for a really good night's sleep. Maybe you diffuse some essential oil, like some lavender essential oil, to create a very calming environment for you. Maybe you spend some time stretching, maybe you spend some time doing breath work, or you spend some time having a really good conversation with your spouse or some intimacy, right? All of that really helps to promote relaxation, decompression, and releasing stress as well. So whatever speaks to you in that, implement that. Start to work that into your routine. Alrighty, last but not least, we're going to talk about movement here, because that is, of course, a part of our home-based behaviors. And movement always, we just want to start simply by saying, like, walking is an incredible form of exercise. So never discount a good walk. Wherever you are in your journey, in your healing journey, in your fitness journey as well, meet yourself where you need to be met at. Again, if that is just walking right now, or maybe you're a little sedentary and you realize I really need to start doing something, schedule that in. Schedule in a walk, maybe 2 times a week. Start small, start somewhere, but start small, and tell yourself, I'm just going to go for a 10-minute walk or a 5-minute walk. Like, if this seems so big for you, that is like, oh my gosh, maybe in your mind, you've convinced yourself that if I'm not walking for at least an hour, then I'm not going to walk. Don't tell yourself that, right? We don't have to be in that all or nothing mindset. I want to give you permission to start small. And again, expand and grow upon each of these areas, even with exercise. So again, if that's a 5 or 10 minute walk right now, that's incredible. And you're going to start to prove to yourself that you can do this, that you can do a 5 to 10 minute walk. And what if a 12-minute walk is in, the horizon for you the next time you commit to a walk, right? It's that feedback loop that we all need, we all love. And it's just that proving to ourselves that we can do hard things. We can get uncomfortable. We can prove to ourselves that we are capable. We just have to get started, right? We have to rip the Band-Aid and get a head start on this. And again, that could look really small. It could look like a 5 minute workout, even if you want to start with yoga or Pilates, and everything on YouTube you see is like 30 minutes, or maybe you're following somebody who only does 30-minute yoga workouts. Search 5-minute yoga workouts, guys. I know it is out there. I know it's on YouTube. And you can prove to yourself that you can do a 5-minute yoga routine. And once that starts to feel good and you're proving to yourself that you can do that, then that's where your mind is going to automatically start looking for the next thing. Like, can I do a 10-minute one? Can I do a 15-minute one? How can I start to compound this effect, right? So those are just some gentle, helpful tips when it comes to workouts. No matter where you are, like I said, just start somewhere. Start small and start to build upon that. And the last thing I will say before I close out this call is, if you realize you really haven't been prioritizing any of home base, okay, that's all right as well. Again, we're going to do something with that realization, right? And we're going to write down all of the home-based behaviors that we realize we need to do. Kind of start making a plan for yourself. Like, how much water do I need? How much vegetables should I be having in a day? Is that 3 to 4? Is 4 to 5? Or am I not having any and I need to work at least two right now? 2 servings of veggies, right? Decide where you are at. Think about protein. Are you ensuring you're having a breakfast? Are you ensuring that you're getting protein at breakfast, lunch, and dinner? If not, outline that. See where you're at and see what growth opportunities are there. All right, same with sleep, same with movement. Write all this down. And instead of feeling like you have to do all these things starting now, pick 1 to 2 things. Okay, don't overwhelm yourself. That is not the point of this. I want you to pick 1 to 2 focuses of home base that you can start focusing on over this next week, or maybe even 2 weeks, okay? Until these habits start to get nailed down, like them like the back of your hand, and you feel very strong and solid in these habits, to where then you can start looking to another home-based behavior and you feel confident and eager enough to add, to build. Okay, we call this habit stacking even. Start with one habit, make it a good solid habit, and then add to it. Add to it, add to it. We do not have to do all the things at once. Again, that invites overwhelm, and we want to uninvite that, right? We want to throw that out the window, because that can bring a lot of stress to the body as well, and that is not worth it. Stress, as we all know, is not a nice hormone whenever it is elevated for too long. Okay, we need stress in sometimes, but not all the time. All right, so with that, I'm going to wrap up this call. I hope these tips were very helpful. Again, if you have any questions, please let us know in the community chat thread. Drop your question, drop your feedback or takeaway, anything. Let's have some dialogue and some community and be here for one another. All right, have a wonderful day, and we will talk to you soon.